guys, it's another weekly wrap-up time. I always seem to be filming these while I'm editing and uploading the previous week. Well, anyways, I'm on spring break this week, and I thought that I would have, like, extra time to catch up on the books that I have to read and return. So, like, I've been trying to... I have so many books that are coming up due really soon to the library, so I've been trying to read a lot. But then my professors gave me a lot of work, and some of them are just like, oh, well, we wouldn't want you to not have anything to do on your break. And I've got, like, a bunch of projects and, like, homeworks, like really? Don't tell me have a good break and then assign me a bunch of shit to do, so it's not cool, but... I'm going to try and read as many of these books as I can before my break is over. Well, anyways, the most recent book that I have read was The Red Hood and the Outlaws. This is Volume 4, League of Assassins. It's been a while since I've read Volume 3 of Red Hood and the Outlaws. But I'm starting to like this series, but this one volume was just really slow. Red Hood, who is Jason Todd, he has requested this being to, like, memory wipe him, so he doesn't really remember who he was because of the events from Volume 3. Some things happened to him, and he wants to forget these and try to start a new life. So, I mean, it was really slow to start, and it seemed like it was okay. I'll have to say that I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. It was just, I mean, it all made sense in the end, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys if you are wanting to read this series. It was just okay, but it kind of mainly focused on the relationship between the 3 members of Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is, you know, Roy, I think he's Red Arrow is his name, and Starfire. And it's like a love triangle with this Starfire alien girl, and they find out something about her, how she's been lying to them all along, and, like, I don't think the 2 guys realize that they're both banging Starfire. So, yeah, it's just, like, little stuff like that. It was just kind of like that drama type stuff, and... It was meh, you know, it was okay. So, I don't know if I should bother picking up Volume 5. I saw that there is a Volume 5, but I don't know if I should pick it up because, like I said, the story was just okay. And plus, there's a secret twist ending. I don't want to blow it for you guys if you're into reading this series, so... But that was cool, but it didn't salvage the rating. I still rated this 3 out of 5 stars. It's just okay. Next up we have The Bronx Kill. This is another Vertigo book, but this time it's a Vertigo crime book, which I didn't even... I know that Vertigo is like a sub-company of DC Comics, but I didn't know that Vertigo had a subsection too. Well, anyways, I occasionally like to read the crime graphic novels, and I'll have to admit, I think this was something that was recommended to me by Goodreads, and it's shocker, it was actually pretty good. Well, anyways, let's get on with it. It is in black and white, which I'm not a big fan of the black and white graphic novels. It was really, really slow to start. It takes place in this area of New York City that's called the Bronx Kill. A kill is like something from the New Amsterdam, like, period. So, like, it's like something to do with a waterway. Like, if you go downstate New York, there's a lot of places that have kill in the names. Well, whatever. Anyways, this has to do with a family mystery, and the suspense just builds and builds, and the main character is a writer, so there are sections where he has, like, parts of his story where he's editing them or whatnot. It's kind of like a little bit of added fluff. But I really enjoyed the story. I mean, the further you got into it, the mystery starts to unveil and things just get a little stranger and creepier. And the final outcome was really unexpected, and I thought it made for a cool ending too, which, you know, I didn't think was going to be that great of a story. But anyways, I rated this one 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I'm not going to show you the back because there's really nothing to look at on the back. It's just like a description of the book. After that, I picked up Captain America Reborn. This kind of looks like an older Captain America book. I think that's what I was thinking when I first checked this out. But it takes place immediately following the events of Captain America's assassination. You know, if you're up to speed with what's going on with Captain America, you know, Civil War, he was put on trial and somebody assassinated him. I'm not going to reveal who assassinated him. There were 2 shooters. And I'm not going to say, because if you haven't read that story, I don't want to spoil it for you. Well, anyways, they go into a little more detail of why they think he was assassinated. There was like a little plot going on. The Red Skull was involved, and shenanigans ensued. But Captain America is like lost in time after he's been quote-unquote assassinated. And he's just slipping through time, reliving all these memories of his life. I thought this was a really good story. It's written by Ed Brubaker, I think is his name. And this guy has never let me down with the stuff he's written. So it was a really enjoyable story. One that I was surprised that a lot of the people on Goodreads didn't feel the same way. I think that a lot of people on average rated this book at 3 stars. But I thought this was a very, very good story. I'm not a big, huge Captain America fan, but I thought this one really did the story justice. If you're into the events of the Civil War, and if you want to know what's going on with Captain America currently, I would definitely check this one out. This is another one that I rated 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a pretty cool story. And I like the back, how they included some of the covers too. So yeah, this one's definitely worth checking out. Next up is X-Men No More Humans. This one is a newer, I think it's a Marvel now, but it says Marvel OGN. And it involves one of the future possible X-Men, Reyes, who is the love child of Wolverine and Mystique. Which was, if I do believe, it was the all-new X-Men storyline that I just read a couple weeks ago. Well, anyways, this guy is back trying to cause trouble for the X-Men. He comes across this device. It's a dimension portal device, and he makes all the humans disappear by setting it to, you know, so it leaves mutants alone on the world and transports everybody else. So, of course, the X-Men wake up to find out that like all the humans have disappeared. And they're wondering what's going on. Of course, this Reyes guy leaves little clues, and he gets like other dimensions mutants that are threatened to cross over into the X-Men's world. So, of course, this had, you know, alternative, you know, mutants, more Brotherhood mutants than original X-Men. So, of course, I really liked this story. I thought it was cool how, you know, they really, nobody's written anything like this before, like with such a possible, you know, storyline. So I really thought this was a good story, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. If you're into alternative, like, storylines, alternative futures, stuff like that, or if you're into the most recent X-Men, then I would check this out because I thought it was a good story. It's worth reading. After that, I picked up X-Men vs. Hulk. What I thought was odd about this was that it starts out with the newest, most recent X-Men vs. Hulk storyline, which was World War Hulk. And then it went backwards in time for some reason. Like, so it started with the most recent and then just went all the way back until like their first meeting. And for some reason, like, the first story with them in it was black and white. I don't know why. I don't ever recall any X-Men comics being black and white. But a lot of the older stories were just okay. So I only rated this 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it would be a lot better than this because the first story was great. But yeah, it was just okay. So it's 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads for this one. Okay, Young X-Men Book of Revelations. I'm not sure which volume this is. I think it's volume 2, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I do have to say the artwork is amazing, and reading this book made it feel like classic X-Men. Not like the original X-Men, but the X-Men team that had Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Colossus. It just had this feel to it. It has a really slow start, and maybe I should pick up the volume before this so I kind of have an idea of what's going on, because they talk a lot about events that happened prior to this. This human named Pierce, he's an X-Men villain. I think he's an anti-mutant type person who wants to kill all mutants. But for some reason, he ended up training the X-Men. I don't know why. That's why I need to read the previous volume. Well, anyways, something happened with one of the new young X-Men. Her name is Soraya. I think her name is Dust, her code name or whatever, but she's kind of a cool mutant. And something happened to her where now she's dying because of it. It made for an interesting story just based around that, and there was like possible future outcome. There was another X-Man on the team who they discover is not really a mutant, that he has his powers transferred by a mutant who gave him the powers. And I'm not going to reveal how that comes about because it's kind of a shocker and it's something integral to the book. But yes, I did rate this one 4 out of 5 stars. It was a really enjoyable story. Like I said, it had a classic X-Men feel to it. Guggenheim is the one who wrote it, which I've never heard of this guy, but you know, he knows what he's doing apparently. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. If you like classic X-Men, definitely check this one out. It's worth the time, effort reading it. After that, I picked up New XMen Academy X. This one is Haunted. Now this one, on the other hand, it has some similar team members, but this is it's so boring, and like it's called Haunted, which makes it seem like it's going to be an exciting story, but I'm not going to reveal why it's called Haunted, but it was really lame once I found out, and it's all like high school type teen drama stuff, so it was really dry and blah for me. I only rated this one 2 out of 5 stars. If you're into teen drama type stuff, maybe you'll like this, but it just wasn't for me. I just wasn't having it. Next up is XMen Prelude to Schism. I don't even remember what Schism was about. I read it so long ago. It has something to do with the mutant island Utopia. And I think it might be something to do with the Civil War, but I don't remember. But anyways, this was really dry, and the only thing that really kind of made this readable were the flashback scenes involving some of the X-Men, like Wolverine, Magneto, and Professor X. Yeah, this is back when Professor X was still alive. So yeah, I thought it was just an average read. Really, I only rated this 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Like I said, the only thing that really saved this were the different perspective flashback scenes from a few different X-Men. It was just okay. It was really dry, and it seemed really short, so yeah, it is what it is. After that, I picked up XMen Forever. This is volume 2. If you're not familiar with XMen Forever, what XMen Forever is, it was a project designed so that Chris Claremont, who was the original classic X-Men writer, it was so that he could finish what he thought the direction the X-Men should have gone in, because as you know, like when he stopped writing it, someone else picked up and they totally changed the X-Men. I guess he had a different vision for the X-Men's future, and it was this, X-Men Forever. And I do have to say, I'm kind of glad that he didn't get to write the X-Men, because it's so bad. I mean, I really liked this guy's writing when he was writing classic X-Men, but like the directions he was going to take, like new characters and past characters, like he wanted to kill off Wolverine totally. Wolverine's one of the major X-Men that everybody likes, and Gambit's totally different, and Sabretooth is an X-Man. It's just so out there that, yeah, and for some reason, Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde, has one of Wolverine's claws in her hand, and it's, yeah. I only rated this 2 out of 5 stars. If you're interested to see, you know, where his vision of the X-Men would have went, if you're into classic X-Men, if you want to see where Chris Claremont would have took them, then yeah, go ahead and pick this up, but not feeling it. Not feeling it. Because there were so many good stories that came out of, like, when he stopped writing X-Men. That just, I don't know if it's because I'm a traditionalist and I just like the way the X-Men were and how they are now, and yeah. Okay, and now the final book for my weekly wrap-up. We have X-Men Bizarre Love Triangle. This is a really interesting story because it focuses on the hardships, the reality of Gambit and Rogue's relationship, and how because of her mutant ability they cannot have physical contact for too long, and this unknown mutant suddenly joins the X-Men and she tries to get between them. So that alone made this an interesting story, and I have to say it was interesting, but it wasn't that great. I think I only rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to reveal as to who the new member is that tries to get between them, but it definitely threw in a cool plot twist towards the end. So it's just a fun little read. It's not anything I would say you have to read this if you're into the X-Men, but it is kind of cool to like learn more about Rogue and Gambit, and yeah. So it was just a fun little read. Nothing too serious. So that is my weekly wrap-up. Questions, comments, as always. If you have any recommendations for me, let me know down below. If you guys read any of these books, I know there were a lot of X-Men books. I read so many X books this week, yeah. But I managed to get through them relatively quickly. I'm proud of myself. That's it, guys. Till next time, later.